Good morning, everybody. Thanks for letting us come out and speak today. I'm going to try to let Carter and Olivia do most of the presentation. I tend to speak quite a lot, so they'll have to pull me away every once in a while, so I'm going to let them do this. But the main reason we wanted to come today was, first off, to thank you guys, each individual one of you, for coming and for doing what you're doing. We need more people like you out there trying to make a difference, and this is phenomenal. We had a young man, your name again? I'm sorry. Aiden, came up to us yesterday after Carter and Olivia had spoke, and he said, why don't you come up here real quick, Aiden? Tell everybody what you told Carter and Olivia. I thought it was very inspirational.
I basically just said thank you for showing that kids can make a difference too, and that we're not just little people running around that don't matter.
Congratulations. So that's what One More Generation is all about. Inspiring kids and adults to know that anybody can make a difference. If these guys can do it, certainly everybody in this room can do it as well. And as you are, just by attending. I mean, you're making a big difference. So you guys are really doing a great job, so thank you. So I'm going to turn it over to Carter and Olivia, and they're going to tell you a little bit about their history, some of the things they're working on, and their presentation today is titled, Anybody Can Make a Difference. So listen to some of the things that they've done, and you'll hear and hopefully be inspired by what they've done.
Before we get started, I'd like to warm you guys up. Could everyone stand up?
Do it to the side. Do it to the side. No, you don't need it. They'll hear you.
So, I like magic, and so I'm just going to do a little magic trick to you guys. So, can everyone put their hands out like this? Now, turn them upside down so your thumbs are facing down. Now, cross them over so your palms are together, and clench them. But make sure your thumbs are down. Make sure your thumbs are down. And make sure that you keep it clenched, alright? So when I say go, you're going to turn your hands so your thumbs are facing that. 1, 2, 3, go. Can anyone do it? What?
It doesn't work. Good job, Carter. Good job. That's it. You can sit again. Thank you. Go ahead, Olivia.
Want me to explain how it started?
Go ahead.
Sorry, want me to explain how it started?
Yeah.
So first of all, I'm Carter, and I'm 13 years old, and this is my sister Olivia, who will be turning 12 at the end of August. So One More Generation, we started One More Generation back in 2009 when our aunt had adopted cheetahs for us. And Olivia was wondering, why do cheetahs need to be adopted? And he said, well, that's a great question. If there weren't agencies like the one you're adopting your cheetahs from, then there won't be cheetahs when you grow up. And that's what my dad told Olivia. And she got really upset. So she wanted to do something. She said, we've got to do something. And my dad said, okay, when you get older, you can start a company. Of course, at her age, she thought my dad said we're starting a company. So she came to me and she got me really excited, and we started to bug my dad, and he said, when you get older, and we thought he was pushing it off. He was. And so we kept bugging him, and he finally said, okay, if you guys are really serious about this, you have to prove it to me. If you guys can study different species for 2 weeks, then I'll know you guys are serious about this. So every day we'd research different animals. We'd ask if we could go to the library, and we studied for 14 days different species. And my mom realized that every time we were looking at all these animals, we were saying, oh my gosh. And she said to my dad, we need to incorporate those letters, OMG, into the company name. And so we sat down, we had a board meeting. We had no idea what that was. We had a board meeting, and we were coming up with company names. Olivia had some like, please adopt me and please feed me. And I had, please save me for the next generation. And that's where we came up with One More Generation. And that's how we started our company. So who here, I know I talk a lot too. Who here remembers the Gulf oil spill? Who remembers the Gulf oil spill? I don't know if everyone heard me. Okay.
That's much better.
So back in 2010, the Gulf oil spill happened, and my mom turned on CNN. Again, we had no idea what that was. Turned on CNN, and there were pictures of seabirds and sea turtles being pulled out of the water caked in oil. And Olivia said, we've got to do something. My dad was like, oh my gosh, and put his blinders up, like he always says. And so we collected supplies for 4 months, and on Olivia's 8th birthday, we brought all the supplies down to the Gulf where we met with the Marine Mammal and Sea Turtle Rescue Center. They had 146 sea turtles, 6 sharks, a dolphin, and countless birds that had been sickened from ingesting oil.
I might have asked this yesterday, but I have a short memory, I guess. But does anybody know how to get oil out of a sea turtle?
Raise your hand if you remember.
Okay, sorry.
Okay, now you can.
Okay.
And so while... Oh, okay.
So while we were there, a professor from Berkeley, California came up to us, like I said yesterday. She came up to us and asked us, what are we doing about the environment? My dad got mad at her, and then and she told us about plastic pollution, and then we educated ourselves for 5 months straight. And then we created a plastic awareness curriculum where we now have it's a week-long curriculum where we go to schools, or we just give the teachers a curriculum, and we go to schools and we teach the kids about what plastics you can recycle and what plastics you can't. And our curriculum is nationwide. It's being used in the UK, Australia, and South Africa. And we go there, and in our program, art, math, literature, and science is involved in our curriculum.
So practically it's a 5-day curriculum. We go to schools and kids bring their plastic trash that they've been collecting over the week and bring it into school every day, and we have a big bin, well, I would say big trailer that the kids put their plastic trash in. And at the end of the week, we show all the kids how much plastic trash there is, but we make an art sculpture out of it. And the first school we had was 121 pounds of plastic trash, and it was only 80 kids. And we made a sea turtle out of it, and we were showing everyone how much plastic trash is being used with only a small group of kids. And now compare that to a school with 750 kids. We made another sea turtle, and I don't know how much it weighed, but we had so much plastic trash, and we were educating the kids on how much we're using when we could use reusable bottles. We give them cloth reusable bags and stainless steel water bottles that they use throughout the week, and they can keep it.
We also have a plastic awareness coalition when we wanted to go to the mayors and talk about how much plastic we're using and the plastic bags that we're getting at the grocery store, and then we just use it. Or let's say we went to Subway and we got a plastic bag for our sandwiches, and then we timed at a college that there was a mini Subway in the college, and the kids, all the college students, used the bag for 1.6 seconds, and they threw it away after they got their sandwich and sat at a table. They just threw away their plastic bag in 1.6 seconds. So we wanted to go to the mayor and talk to him about all the plastic bags and all the plastic we're using. But the mayor didn't know who we were because we were so small at the time. And so then we made a plastic awareness coalition where we now have over 80 like-minded organizations, local, national, and international people.
But talking about all this plastic pollution, we did start all about animals. And so we're going to come back to that now. And we have made coalitions about different animals such as cheetahs, bats, rattlesnakes, sharks, and most recently, rhinos. I don't know if any of you know about the rhino situation. A lot of rhinos are being killed for their horns now. And we just recently got back from South Africa, where we were educating people on rhino poaching. And a lot of people in South Africa didn't even know what a rhino was, let alone rhino poaching. And so we were educating people on this. And so while we were still here in the United States, we gathered letters from kids all around the world asking President Zuma to stop rhino poaching. And our goal was to collect 1,000 letters. By the end of, I think, 2 years it was, we gathered 10,000 letters, which we brought over to the South African government. We presented it to them. We brought up only 15 letters at a time, and we said, well, will you promise to read all these letters? And he said, I promise. And we stacked up all the 10,000 after that. So he practically promised to read all 10,000 letters. So while we were there, we had a film crew that was with us, and we're filming a documentary now. It's called Rhinos United, and we...
Okay, no, you want me to go? Okay. So, we got a film, we're creating a documentary on rhino poaching, and if you go to the website itsyourplanet.org, then you could find the 17-minute trailer of our documentary. It's a pretty long trailer. But in March, we're going to Vietnam because we got invited by the U.S. Embassy, which one of the people here is right over there who invited us. And so they invited us to come speak at I think it's the national, yes, please. What she said. But we're going over there, and maybe we are going to finish our documentary in Vietnam, because only half of our documentary is done, and we want to finish it in Vietnam where they're selling the rhino horn, but they're also selling the rhino horn in New York, so I just wanted to tell you that.
So while we were coming down here, as you know, we got invited here, because we wouldn't be here if we didn't get invited. So we got invited here, and we had our whole trip planned out. So after this, we're going to go speak to the Undersecretary Novelli to speak with her about plastic pollution. And you can go now.
So we're going to speak with the Undersecretary of State, Catherine Novelli, about our plastic awareness curriculum. And we're going to speak because she wants to learn more about it, so she invited us back to D.C. because we were recently there for an ocean conference with John Kerry and a bunch of presidents from different countries. And so now we're going back to D.C. to talk to her about our curriculum, and we're also right before that meeting, we're meeting with the Wildlife Trafficking Division, and we're going to talk to them about animal conservation. And we know that Catherine Novelli, she just came back from China, where she was over there fighting some animal conservation.
Okay. So who likes to go to Chick-fil-A, O'Charlie's, GameStop, and Edible Arrangements? Do any of you know what those are? Okay, good. So we just recently talked to Chick-fil-A headquarters. We'll start with Chick-fil-A. We just recently talked with Chick-fil-A headquarters about their styrofoam cups and their kids' meals books that they have. The books come in sleeves of plastic, and the kid opens it and throws that away and uses the book, I don't know how long. I don't have the estimate of seconds. But we're talking to them about that, and they've started to change a little, and we're trying to get them to use paper straws instead of plastic straws. Because Ted's restaurant, Ted's Montana Grill, do you know who that is? What that is? Okay, Ted's Montana Grill uses paper straws, and they're really environmental friendly. O'Charlie's, they have their big plastic bags that say O'Charlie's on it. And they're not to go. Yeah, to go orders. And they have styrofoam containers if they don't use anything. And this is the paper straw that we were talking about for Chick-fil-A. Has cow prints.
We were doing something for Chick-fil-A, so we couldn't put
Pass it out.
Chick-fil-A on it. So we put on cow prints. So, Chick-fil-A
And so we were talking to O'Charlie's for their styrofoam containers that they use and their big plastic bags that they give out to people. Same with GameStop, their big bags that they have. I once went to GameStop, I was 9, I think, and this guy's, I was getting a little game, and I said, no plastic bag, please. And he had already put my thing in the plastic bag. He took the game out, slammed it on the table, took the plastic bag and threw it in the trash. And I said, did you just throw that in the trash? And he said, what's your problem? My dad was coming, I was like, hold on, Dad, I got this. and so he was saying, what's your problem? And I said, well, you just threw it in the trash. You could use it for someone else, or you could ask someone if they want a plastic bag. And he said, who are you? And I went,
You should have said Reese.
and so I gave him my card, and he started to listen after that. And I said, well, I told him about the organization, and he said, here's our headquarters. Here's the number to our headquarters. So we called his boss's boss, his boss's boss. And we talked to him, and we're starting to, they use, I think, 6 million, no, a big number with 6 in it. That's how many bags they use in, hello? Okay, that they use in the United States. And so, every year. And so, is this better? It's off. Oh, now it's on. And so we're talking to them about that, and they're starting to ask people now if they want plastic bags, and they're trying a 9-month trial, I think it is, and they're starting to cut down the amount of plastic bags. And the last one is edible arrangements. Do any of you know what edible arrangements is? Okay. I went to their shop one day, and I said, I'm doing a school report. I wasn't really doing a school report. All I was doing was going in to see about their plastic. And they have all these different shapes of fruit and vegetables stuck into a styrofoam container at the bottom, and with plastic tubes that are coming up so that you can stick the fruit onto it. And we were realizing how many they were using, and it was over 15 they used in every single container, and I don't know how many they bring out every year, but it's really like a lot, and it's a bad situation because all these are going into the landfills. And we suggested that they maybe turn it into wood ones, and they said it would be too sharp. And we said, how about bamboo? And so they were using that. Then they had a trial as well, and they came back and said it was unsuccessful, which they never tried it. So you can go.
I'm not gonna need the mic. Just a couple of things in the last couple of minutes. Oh, for the video, I guess I'm using the mic. There we go. A couple of things. So what Carter and Olivia are basically trying to do is to show you that if you see something wrong, speak up about it. Here Carter went into a GameStop buying his little game, and as he said, the guy was adamant about giving him a plastic bag, even though he said no. But because he spoke up and because he educated this 22-year-old clerk behind the counter, and he was, I think, just turned 10, that led to a meeting with the regional vice president for GameStop, who flew into Atlanta to meet with us. Now, GameStop has 2,500 storefront locations internationally. Anybody want to guess how many plastic bags that they give away? Just somebody pick a number. Now just think about this. You're buying a game, they put it in a plastic bag, and you're walking out. How many plastic bags do you think they use in a year? How many? No, it's 110 million single-use plastic bags every single year, and 85% of what you buy in a GameStop you can hand carry out yourself. So there's no need for it. Go ahead, real quick.
I saw this one lady, she had a little magazine about that thick. It was about that tall. And she was at GameStop and she got it. And they have these big giant bags that are really big. And so then they put the little tiny magazine in the plastic bag. And she hand carried it, well, not hand carried, she took it out with the bag and she had one little magazine in it.
That's crazy. And then the O'Charlie's example. We went to O'Charlie's. Do you guys have O'Charlie's here in D.C. or Virginia? No, it's a dining restaurant type thing for families. That's like TGIF type, something like that.
I should have asked.
That's all right. So we went in to have dinner one day, and Carter saw this lady walking out with two big plastic bags in her hands. And Carter said, well, why are they giving bags here at the thing? I said, well, ask the manager. So when we sat down, he asked the manager to come over, and the manager says, well, we use it so that customers can carry their to-go orders. And then he started asking Carter, why you were concerned with this? Well, that led to a meeting also with the headquarters for O'Charlie's. O'Charlie's has 220 restaurant locations across the country. So they're a small chain. They use 6.6 million single-use plastic bags just for to-go orders. And when we did our meeting with them, we found out that 85% of the to-go customers are repeat to-go customers.
And that's the one with the number 6 I was talking about.
So that's where you're talking about where you're going in. These guys are medical reps, and they're going and buying lunches for the practice that they visit every week. So they know that the O'Charlie's rep, the personnel working there. So they're regular customers, and they're coming in every day, every week, and they're buying these to-go things, and they're using these plastic bags. So what we've done is we've designed a reusable plastic bag with a company out of California that is going to be test marketed now by O'Charlie's. Now, while this has taken over a year to do this, while this was going on, O'Charlie's got bought out by another company. So now it's 650 storefronts with different restaurant names that are looking at doing this test market where they'll bring in these bags and they'll give the customer a free beverage or a free dessert if you bring back the reusable bag. So it'll remove at least 600 million plastic bags, which is phenomenal. And then they mentioned edible arrangements. We looked at it. One of my wife's with the company she works for, they sent us an edible arrangement as a Christmas gift or something. And we started enjoying this, and it was great until you see all these plastic sticks that they put in this styrofoam ball. It was crazy. So we said, let's find out how many. We couldn't find out. So Carter did the undercover investigator, called up the local thing and said, I'm doing a report for my school. Can I come in and just kind of shadow you guys for the day? And they let him come in. Anybody want to guess how many plastic sticks they use annually? Annually. Somebody pick a number. Just pick a number. Over 600 million. And none of them get recycled. None of them get recycled. So like Carter said, our proposal to them is look at bamboo alternative, bamboo sticks. So we're still working with them and hoping that they'll do the test market like we're asking. But it's what our point with this is, anybody can make a difference. If you see something, ask the next question.
Can I say something?
Yeah, go ahead, sure.
No, it was about
Go ahead, you can talk about Chick-fil-A. Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to get a little bit off of the restaurant, this restaurant subject. You know Chick-fil-A, right? There's a Chick-fil-A, okay. You know how they use styrofoam as their cups? Well, we're trying to have them change that, and I went to a Chick-fil-A and I asked if I could get a different kind of cup besides styrofoam, and he said, no, why'd you ask? And I told him why, and he said, yes, but we have these recycle bins over here where we recycle our styrofoam. And after that, I told him that they can't be recycled because there used to be a styrofoam recycling company, and Chick-fil-A didn't know that, but now know that they're gone now. And so now they're saying those styrofoam cups are being recycled into trays, tables, chairs. And then I asked him, what if those chairs break? Do they just go in the landfill? So we try not to use those styrofoam cups at Chick-fil-A.
So again, that's just an example. Somebody mentioned the word greenwashing yesterday. during one of the presentations. And unfortunately, it happens all the time. So here we are at Chick-fil-A. She's saying no to the styrofoam cup, and the manager comes out and proudly shows us this area that says, deposit your styrofoam cups here. What he didn't know is Chick-fil-A hasn't had for over a year somebody that takes that styrofoam back anymore. The company in our Atlanta market went out of business. So all that stuff that's going in there is ending up in the landfill. But as far as they're concerned, we've got something, we're doing something about it, we're no longer responsible for it. So what our point with that is, ask the next question. Like recycling centers. We go to recycling centers all the time, and they say they take all 7 types of plastic. Well, we ask, where do these plastics go? Come to find out, like they mentioned yesterday, plastics 3, 6, and 7, predominantly across the U.S., have no buyers for it anymore. So those plastics are ending up in our landfill. So these are just things that we're trying to say, anybody can make a difference. You see all the different things the kids are involved in. You don't have to go to that extreme and start a company and do all the things they're doing. But a simple act of saying no when you're at Subway to the plastic sleeve when they put your sandwich in it. And what she was saying, we were asked to go to Georgia Tech and do a survey on plastic and talk to the students. It was 6.2 seconds was the average use of that plastic bag. From the time they handed their sandwiches, they sat down, they pulled the sandwich out, and they threw the bag away.
Again, a 6.
6.2 seconds, and it was thrown away. The students could have easily said, no, we don't need it. So just a few things, Go ahead, you can finish it off.
Sorry, I got that number wrong.
All right, so any questions for Carter and Olivia before we wrap it up? Go ahead. Right there.
We go to a homeschool program where we go once a week with all our classmates or whoever goes to the program, and they teach us and give us homework, and then for the whole week we do our homework. But if we're traveling, then we try to do a Skype call with them and stuff like that.
Any other questions? Go ahead.
What's the common denominator for what plastic, styrofoam, and all these products are made from? What's the common denominator? What are they made from? What?
Well, the answer is petroleum. It's usually made from petroleum and, what was it? How much petroleum was it?
A good example is if you take a plastic water bottle and you filled a quarter of that bottle with petroleum, that's how much petroleum is needed to make that one bottle. People don't realize that. When we go to schools, we bring a plastic bottle with us. We put balsamic vinegar in it to look like petroleum, but that's what we do. It's not that it takes that much to make the one bottle, but by the time you send that ship out that you have diesel fuel in it to go out and to drill for the oil and bring it back to the refinery and refine it, and then you make it into bottles, and then you fill it with your precious water, and we ship it all over the world. By the time you factor all that in there, a quarter of that bottle is needed worth of petroleum just to make that one bottle. Does anybody know how many bottles the average adult uses in America every year? I hope you do. Go ahead. Whoops. How many?
Is it 1.6 million?
No. So it's 180 to 240 water bottles per average adult.
A year?
And less than 10% ever get recycled. Yeah, per year.
Yeah, per year.
Did that answer your question, sir? Okay. Any other questions for Carter and Olivia? And it could be off topic too. I mean, like the education thing. That was a great question.
Or what's my favorite color? How many pets do you have? Or
This.
So obviously you have this nonprofit. Do you do like extracurricular activities or try and organize that with your nonprofit?
yes, I volunteer at a place called Aware in Lithonia, Georgia, where they take in injured animals, like all kinds of stuff, like raccoons, opossums, squirrels, chipmunks, and they rehab them and release them. So I work there, like in making their food, cleaning their cages, which I love doing that because they have baby mice, which is so cute.
Go ahead. Okay, I'm sorry.
Ladies first. I couldn't hear. I didn't hear that.
Yes, we talk about how, like, has anybody in here used a plastic water bottle and then refilled it? Raise your hand if you've done that. How many of you still do it? Well, I would recommend not doing that because on the top of the water bottle, there's on the mouthpiece, once you drink out of it, your germs get on top of the mouthpiece, and then after a day or so, like bacteria starts forming on top of that, and you keep putting your mouth on that, and then it gets into your digestive system, and it makes you have stomach problems. We had one teacher who has been using one of those bottles for a whole year and had stomach problems for 9 months. So yeah, even if you wash, it's porous like your skin, so it leaks.
Yeah, let me touch on that
Go
real
ahead.
quick. So plastic number one is a very porous plastic, and they do it that way so it's lightweight because they're shipping this heavy water all over the world, right? So they need it to be as lightweight as possible. So it's actually a very porous product. So when you drink out of it, your germs are actually building up in there, and that bacteria, you start drinking it. So when we go to our schools and with our program, we give every student and every teacher their very own stainless steel water bottle. So the first school we did, this teacher proudly threw her plastic bottle on the table, and she says, "I've been using this for a whole year." And she was proud of it. These guys, their mouth dropped open like, "Oh my gosh, are you kidding me?" So we told her about this, and she had her bottle. 3 weeks after we finished the program, she sent us an email. For the first time in 8 months, she has no longer had a stomach problem. And she couldn't put 2 and 2 together what was causing it. She was using that same nasty bottle for an entire year, thinking she was doing the right thing. So and to answer your question, what somebody else asked about the leaching of the chemicals in it, we don't recommend using water bottles, period. But if you do, don't ever leave it out in the sun because it has been proven that the UV rays will actually release some of the toxins used to make the phthalates used to make the plastic bottle into the water, and you end up drinking that as well. So our recommendation is stay away from plastic bottles completely. You know?
Do you mind, excuse me, do you mind holding up that pink bottle right there? Yeah. That water bottle, my dad's not trying to say that you can't drink out of water bottles like that. Those water bottles are reusable because they are plastic number 2. And plastic number 2 can be reused.
And it's not porous.
Yeah.
Now, who were the other 2 people who had question?
Go ahead.
Sorry, give me 1 second.
I'll answer that. Very good question. Yeah, we do have a survey that we put together with the schools. So we survey the school before they do our week-long curriculum. We get the response back from the kids on what they're used to, what they recycle, what their knowledge is. And then we do it a week after the event is over with. We tie our whole program in so that it's family-based as well. So we bought the movie rights to a documentary called Bag It. Has anybody ever seen that movie, Bag It? Good, you have. If you have? Okay. A few people? Okay. So we bought the movie rights to that. So every school that goes to our curriculum gets a copy of that DVD. So after we've taught the kids our week-long curriculum, a week later, the school hosts a family night, movie night. And the parents come in, and it's open to the community, and they get to watch this, and it helps the parents now understand everything that the kids learned during the week. So it's a way of just tying it in, and that further then just keeps it in front of their minds of what we just taught them last week. Go ahead. Who else had a question? Go ahead. Speak up, I'm sorry. The reality of it is it's monetary. So money talks, and corporations have to be as profitable as possible. So plastic is the least expensive than other materials out there. So 9 times out of 10, like looking at the straws as an example, a plastic straw is less than 1/2 cent for a regular plastic one. Our paper one that we had with the cow prints on it is 1.3 cents. So it's a lot more expensive. So the manufacturers have to sit back and make that conscious decision. I'm doing it for the right reasons. And then they have to find the budget within their organization to make that happen as well. So it's not something you can change overnight, but it is something that needs to happen. Does anybody know how many plastic straws we use every day in America? I'm sure there's somebody here that knows that number.
I do.
Anybody? Anybody want to guess before you tell them? 5 million. 5 million? How about you? 100 million? Go ahead and tell them.
500, I think it's million.
Think about that. 500 million plastic straws every single day.
And
How many million people live in the United States? Over 300 million. But yet we're using 500 million straws a day. That's 1.6 straw for every man, woman, and child living in the United States. Every single day.
I want to tell them
I'm sorry.
real quick. Sorry. And and it can the amount of straws we use a day can fill up 245.
197.
Oh, that scared me. 497 long school buses.
So that's a good visual for you. 497 school buses worth of straws filled up every single day, and 0 get recycled.
He knows
0.
the numbers more than I do.
And so that's just some of the things that we try to raise awareness to. We use glass straws as an example. So there are glass straws made out of Pyrex, so they're very heavy duty. You can
we
drop
bring
them, they
them?
typically don't break. But my wife has 4 of those in her purse. So if we go to O'Charlie's or some dining restaurant, we say no straws, we pull out our glass straws and we use them ourselves. If we go to Chick-fil-A
Did we bring any?
and we order a beverage, we don't because they use styrofoam, but we go to some fast food place and has a beverage, we say no straws, and we reach in the glove box of our car and we pull out glass straws. And so they're a great alternative. They also make metal straws as well, so it's whatever you prefer. But there are alternatives that we don't need to use 1.6 straws every single day for every person, you know? Go ahead, your question back here? Oh, we got one more
Yeah, I
question
was
and then
about
we'll
to
wrap it
ask
up.
how many
Okay,
times.
go ahead.
So I could use the plastic straws. Are they made out of simple ones?
They're not, no, it's a good question. So it won't build up bacteria. It's not porous, so you won't have to worry about it, but it is very hard to get it clean. Okay, you can try that. And then if you're putting it in a dishwasher to clean it, or how are you cleaning it? Soap and water? Okay. Don't put it in a dishwasher because the drying cycle gets so hot that it actually causes a chemical reaction to the plastic, and that'll leach onto the other dishes as well. Cool. Well, thank you guys very much. I think we've run out of time. We'll be here for a while. If there's any questions afterwards, we'll obviously be here. But again, our number one message is what?
Anybody can make a difference. If we can, you can too.
Thank you, guys.
About the boat, the car photo.
Oh, we're not going to do that. We don't have time for that.